Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive? We're tackling mindful parenting this time, and let me tell you, these articles we've got, they really get it.
They do. I was laughing along as I read them, nodding in agreement. They just nail the realities of parenting, but also offer some genuinely helpful advice.
Totally. No Zen Master lectures here, just real talk for parents who, let's face it, are usually surrounded by a fair amount of chaos.
Right. It's like they understand that fighting inner peace is a little trickier when you're tripping over toys and negotiating bedtime for the 10th time.
Exactly. And that's where I think the whole pause button concept comes in, which both these articles emphasize. Like before you react to, say, your toddler creating a milk fountain
Oh,
masterpiece.
the milk fountains. I've seen a few of those myself. It's about catching yourself before that wave of, not again, takes over.
Yes, because we've all been there, right? In those moments, it's so easy to go into autopilot, and let's just say our reactions aren't always our proudest moments.
For sure. But that's the beauty of mindfulness. It's about recognizing those triggers, those split-second decisions where we can either yell or take a breath and choose a different path, a more mindful one.
So it's about making that conscious choice to hit the pause button before things escalate, even if it's just for a few seconds to gather your thoughts, right?
Exactly. Those few seconds, they can make all the difference.
Yeah.
Because it's in that pause that we interrupt that automatic fight or flight response and allow ourselves to respond with intention instead of just reacting.
Which is such a game changer because, as parents, we're constantly being thrown curveballs. It's like you finally master the art of diaper changes and bam, you're onto potty training and then picky eating and
And just when you think you've got a handle on one thing, a new phase, a new challenge pops up. That's why that pause is so crucial. It allows us to approach those challenges from a calmer, more centered place.
it's like that saying, right? The days are long, but the years are short. And sometimes it feels like the minutes are even longer when you're dealing with a meltdown at the grocery store.
Absolutely. But I love how one of the articles pointed out that mindfulness isn't about achieving some state of perfect Zen-like calm all the time. It's about progress, not perfection. We're all learning and growing along the way.
Which is so reassuring because let's be real, some days just getting everyone fed and dressed feels like a major victory. But speaking of teaching moments, I really liked that one article actually gave a concrete tool for helping kids learn about mindfulness,
Hmm.
the balloon breath.
Oh, I love that. It's such a simple yet effective way to make mindfulness tangible for kids, turning that abstract idea of breath control into a playful game they can actually grasp.
Right, it's like you're giving them a superpower, a way to navigate those big emotions that sometimes feel overwhelming, even for us adults.
And when they can master that calming breath, it gives them a sense of agency. It empowers them to regulate their own emotions, which is a skill that will serve them well throughout their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of calming techniques, I think I might need to try that balloon breath myself, just thinking about bedtime.
Oh, bedtime. That's a whole other deep dive you could do.
It's funny you should say that because these articles, they actually had some really helpful tips for bedtime routines, and not just for babies, but for older kids too.
It's so true. A consistent routine can be a game changer at any age.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like setting the stage, signaling to their brains and bodies, okay, wind down time. Though I'd be lying if I said those bedtime stories always go according to plan.
Oh, tell me about it. The bedtime stall tactics are legendary. They suddenly develop an unquenchable thirst, need to rearrange their entire bedroom, or remember a crucial question they simply must ask.
Right, and you're like, the sock monster can wait till morning. But one thing that both articles really emphasized was the importance of consistency, even when it's tough.
Absolutely. Because even if your teenager insists they function best on a vampire sleep schedule, that consistent routine sends a powerful signal to their internal clock.
It's true, and honestly, I'm already bracing myself for those teenage sleep battles. But one thing that kind of gave me a sigh of relief, both articles mention this, even with the best routine, some nights are just going to be rough.
Oh, 100%. We can't control everything, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're teething, sometimes it's nightmares, sometimes they swear they saw the dust bunny move.
And in those moments, it's like all the sleep training books in the world go out the window.
Exactly. It's those moments when self-compassion becomes key, not just for our kids, but for us as parents too.
Yes. One article even said the coffee will be there in the morning, which I have to say really resonated with me.
Right. Because sometimes that's the only thing getting us through those 3 a.m. wake-up calls.
Yeah.
But, it's true. Accepting those inevitable rough nights, it actually helps us build resilience for the next one.
It's like building up our sleep deprivation immunity. Okay, now can we switch gears for a minute and talk about another parenting adventure, sibling rivalry? Because Honestly, some days it feels like I'm refereeing a wrestling match instead of promoting brotherly love.
Oh, the constant battle for resources and attention. It's a tale as old as time, isn't it?
Right. But I loved how one article actually reframed sibling rivalry a bit. They pointed out that as maddening as it can be, it actually teaches kids valuable life skills.
It's so true. Negotiation, conflict resolution, compromise, those are all things they're going to need throughout life.
Exactly. And wouldn't you rather they learn those skills at home over a toy dispute than, later in life with bigger stakes?
Absolutely. It's like they're getting real-world training in a safe environment where we can coach them through it.
And speaking of coaching, one article mentioned this peace talks strategy where you basically help the kids express their feelings and brainstorm solutions together.
Oh, that's a great one. It takes us out of the referee role and empowers them to problem solve independently.
And you know what? I actually tried it the other day when my kids were arguing over who got to control the TV remote, and, it kind of worked. They actually managed to reach a compromise without me having to impose a screen time ban.
That's awesome. And who knows, maybe with enough practice, those remote control negotiations will become a distant memory.
One can only hope. Speaking of things that make life a little easier, these articles also had some good tips on picky eating, which, let's be real, is a challenge in pretty much every household with kids.
Right. Picky eating, it's like the ultimate parenting test of patience.
It really is, and it's so easy to fall into that trap of just take one more bite. But one thing that really resonated with me from these articles was the idea of shifting our perspective from mealtime as a battle to mealtime as a collaboration. Ooh, I like that. Collaboration instead of combat. Because, let's be honest, nobody wins in a dinnertime showdown.
Exactly. And the more we can involve our kids in the process, the more likely they are to, if not exactly gobble down their veggies, at least approach mealtime with a little less resistance.
And speaking of involving them, one article had this great tip about getting kids involved in the cooking process, even in small ways, like letting them pick out a vegetable at the store or helping to wash and tear lettuce for a salad.
I love that. It gives them a sense of ownership, like, hey, I helped make this. And who knows, they might even be more inclined to try something new if they've had a hand in creating it.
It's like that old saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself. Okay, maybe not exactly, but you get the idea.
Right. It's about giving them some agency, some control in a world where they often have very little.
And isn't that what mindful parenting is all about, really? Finding those moments of connection, even amidst the chaos of spilled milk and rogue goldfish crackers.
You nailed it. It's about approaching parenting from a place of presence and intention, recognizing that our kids don't need us to be perfect. They need us to be present.
And that's such a powerful message because, let's be real, the pressure to be the perfect parent, it's everywhere these days. But these articles, they were like a giant permission slip to let go of that unrealistic expectation.
They really were. It's about embracing the messy, imperfect reality of parenting and recognizing that we're all learning and growing along the way.
And that's where self-compassion comes in, right? Because we can't pour into our kids' cups if our own cups are
It's
empty.
so true. We have to be kind to ourselves, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed or like
Yeah.
we're not living up to our own expectation.
And one thing that both articles mentioned that I think ties into this beautifully is the power of gratitude, even in the midst of those crazy, chaotic days.
Absolutely. Noticing and appreciating those small wins, those moments of connection, those little things that make parenting so incredibly rewarding.
It's like choosing to focus on the sunshine even when there are storm clouds on the horizon.
Exactly. And, it's not just about parenting, is it? These tools, these mindful practices, they can benefit us in all areas of our lives.
That's such a good point. That pause button, that focus on connection, that self-compassion, those are invaluable life skills that extend far beyond the realm of parenting.
It's about bringing those qualities into our relationships with our partners, our friends, our colleagues, even that stranger we encounter at the grocery store.
It's like a ripple effect, spreading outward from that core intention of mindfulness and connection.
Beautifully said. And the more we cultivate these qualities within ourselves, the more naturally we bring them into the world around us.
That's a beautiful thought to end on. So to all of you listening, remember, you've got this. Embrace the chaos, find those moments of connection, and don't forget to give yourself a little grace along the way. Until next time, happy mindful parenting.